Alrighty, let's see here. Update and refresh all these pages. Can I do the intro right today? That's going to be the real kicker. All right.
I believe in you. I believe in you.
I feel so out of practice. It's been a minute since we've had everybody. Well, almost everybody. Wrath will probably start coming more regularly once he, get some stuff handled.
You gotta lay the pin pan down.
Are you? Let's not say that. Let's not say that. That's one of the things he's fighting right now.
Uh-oh, never mind.
So
he's fighting being a pimp?
I was about to say, man, he got a baby powder. He said, give me some more baby powder.
Oh, what was I doing? No, that's not what I'm doing. Why is this doing this way? Share. There we go. Let's get in trouble. All right. Everybody good? Everybody ready?
Yep, I'm all set.
Yeah.
9 now. He's going to the mystical fridge of the void.
You know, right?
Or mystical void fridge, or whatever you want to call it. All right.
Oh, dude, I was thinking about that earlier today. Talk about mystical voids and stuff. Never mind. Keep
And here we go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Griffcast episode 130, the Mature Nerdy Podcast for immature people, the show where we talk about any and all things nerd, video games, comic books, movies, computer technology, and or science. I am your host, King Neckbeard Griffmore. Welcome to the show. We have the entire OG cast with us again.
Yes, sir.
Been a minute since we had that. It's been a minute since we've had that.
That's all, folks.
Beginning and end of the show all in one sweep.
Thank you for the like, Joe. Yeah, anyway, so little catch up. We didn't have a show last week because there was some scheduling conflicts, and then once everybody could do it, I was just too damn tired. So it's my fault.
I mean, it always is. You're the host.
Yeah, I
Show's
am
named after you.
I'm the one that has to hit the stream now button, so
Yeah.
it's always my fault. If there's no show, it's my fault. Every time. That's weird, trying to hear myself talking. Ooh. Okay.
It's weird at first, isn't it? Yeah. It took me a minute to get used to.
But then, new position at work's going good. Yeah, ain't been doing much of anything these last couple of weeks.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
No news is good news, right?
yeah, I don't even know what I've been doing, man. Just like,
I ain't really been doing much myself.
Yeah,
man.
Oh,
Just the same old thing, you know?
Did you get that link I sent you?
Oh, but the AI music, I saw it. I didn't listen to it though.
It's not bad, actually. That's okay. Well, it's bad in the fact that I can punch in a couple of words into a freaking engine and it pops out a full complete song in like 3 minutes.
He's being assimilated.
I played around with some of these things, and at first they were really terrible, but they've actually gotten a lot better. And you can get like real specific with it too. Yeah. And I thought about actually using it as a way to like take samples, because you gotta worry about like copyright infringement and stuff like that if you take samples from like regular stuff. So I thought to myself, I was like, well, if I use AI to make a sample of something, would that technically get around it? Even if it sounds exactly like something, it wouldn't technically be that.
Well,
But
also you could get around that too with a subscription.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So
what do you mean exactly?
A subscription to like the AI?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so like if you're subscribed to whatever that service is, that would be the loophole. Is that what you're saying?
Well, like the one I've been playing around with, if you are a subscriber, you own the music.
Is that how that works? For sure, because like I know,
not 100%, but I'll send you. Well, if you go to the link I sent you, I linked you to in the Discord.
I'll have to go to it here in a bit. I saw something recently that was talking about how the companies that own the AI programs actually can claim a copyright strike on you for using music that you created with their program.
That's no buenos.
Yeah. So when I saw that stuff, I was like, oh man, there's always going to be something that's going to prevent, people from just doing what they want with certain things,
Yeah. I'll send you the link of the one I've been playing with, and it's like you get some bad ones, you do, and then you get some decent ones. But like I was just sitting here at my desk and I had it write a love song sequel to Love Song by The Cure.
Yeah.
And then I had it write a song about Magic the Gathering, a power metal ballad. And because I'm sitting here at my desk and my desk is like covered in Magic cards right now.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm glad the camera's up here, not down here.
Plus, also, he's not wearing any pants.
I am not wearing pants.
How do you know this? How do you pick up this?
I have another camera on a different channel.
Steamy. To the AI music thing, right? So you're saying that you can't be copyrighted because the AI is getting the music or whatever, so on and so forth, plagiarism, so on, whatever. But where's the AI getting its music from? Is it truly an original piece that the AI comes up with, or is it taking samples to create your sample? And is that some way copyright infringement in itself?
I've seen information where people have admitted in certain companies that they openly train their AI on YouTube because there is literally so much stuff on YouTube. I mean, there's just music, just sections of movies, independent videos. I mean, you name it, it's all on there. And YouTube is essentially not necessarily like a copyright-free place to do things, but anybody can access it, so it's not like they're quote-unquote doing something wrong, but at the same time, they are training it on stuff that is not necessarily allowed completely.
Well, not only that, I mean, it also follows basic music theory.
Well, that too.
So
it's a lot of different things. I mean, so like it does understand the general concept of music theory to some extent, but it also has to have some sort of direction as to where it wants to go. And in the past, if we've let AI just do what it wants, it will create something that is interesting, but doesn't necessarily sound great as it continues on for a long time. Sometimes it just kind of gets lost in wherever it's going. And the ones that they got now seem a lot better, but I feel like it's only better because it's learned from real people who have actually done things that have, worked as like popular music, I guess. Yeah. And because it's being trained on that style of music, it is, as a result, able to make more music like that. And it's interesting, but at the same time, it also kind of like devalues certain styles of music, maybe, or just music in general, because then it becomes this thing where it's just like, oh, you can literally just make anything from anything, and it almost kind of becomes meaningless at a certain point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the music styles that it can copy the easiest are the popular styles, and the biggest problem with that is every popular song for the last 30 years uses the same 4 chords.
Right. So I asked one of the AI apps that I was using one time to create a song from like back in the 1920s, like some swing jazz song or something like that. And it made it. It made something that was really, really close to what that was. And I was like, man, there's no way that it could have done that without having known prior what I was even talking about in the first place.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's capable of doing stuff like that, and I mean the instruments that it used even sounded like old, like it sounded like it was from that time, which is crazy. But
I'd honestly be really curious to see what if you took samples from like an old swing song. Yeah. I'd be really curious to see what you could do with that.
I've done that before in the past, but I could probably do a lot better with it now. But yeah, so I don't know. It's interesting to see where it's all going to continue to go, I guess.
So I didn't mean to step on you. Just I had a thought. I'm like, I get it out there before
you. Good.
But it's getting good and like scary good, but not like better than. You can tell that a lot of it is missing the humanity.
Yeah, so it's not going to like push out like independent artists who are going to like do their independent thing, I guess, if you want to say. But like when it comes to commercial artists, people who are making music that's just kind of like background music and stuff like that, those people are going to get pushed out. Actually, those people are already getting pushed out because that type of music, while still has value and there's still people want that kind of music for all kinds of different reasons. That music is now so easy to make with just, a few prompts with texts or whatever. And you can just have some sort of background music that is just whatever. And it doesn't even matter if it sounds like super good because you're probably going to turn it down relatively low and just have it in the background. It'll just be something that's just there.
And the only people that'll notice the problems with it are anybody who has an ear for it.
Right, basically. And anyone else is just going to not even pay attention because I imagine most people don't, And yeah, so like for people who make a living off of making music like that, they're going to be the first ones to go. And that kind of sucks because something like that is something that I was kind of striving towards at a certain point to see if I could do that myself. But with AI, it's like, well, there's a new competitor that exists now for people like me, and it's a competitor that never sleeps and never rests, and it can make anything within seconds.
Yeah, and it's quick too. Like the one I'm using, like you just put in a couple of prompts, and it's. You all right there, bud?
You're losing it.
Have you ever seen Booty Tang?
God, no.
You ever seen Booty Tang?
Don't say it.
Wow, you seen Booty Tang, right?
Don't group me with this Booty Tang.
You see Booty Tang when he's just like, Chris Rock's character is like, he's talking to some other dude, and Chris Rock's like, damn, it's hot as a motherfucker out here. And the other dude be like, yeah, man, it's hot out here too. And he's like, yeah, man, I just said that. It's like, yeah, I know you just said that. I'm just saying it's hot too. I'm like, yeah, but I just said that. Why are you saying it? It's hot. And he's like, I know, man. It's just hot out here too, right? But that's basically what just happened. Tom's just like, it never sleeps, it never takes a day off, and it can make anything in seconds.
It's quick.
And then Griff he goes, yeah, it's quick. It's quick too. We can make anything quick.
Gee, why you gotta do the pooty thing, bro? Not the pooty thing.
Oh man,
That's hilarious.
listen, I never said I was good with words. Anybody's just
It was merely a confirmation of what I said.
yeah, what he said. I'm going home.
Are you not?
Wait, I mean,
I'm so sorry.
Shit.
Please continue. Please continue. I have my phone.
like a part of me wants to carry on, but another part of me is like, I think this is the most that Solps has ever said in a single episode. And I'm like, how far can we take it?
Well, you know, sometimes there's a subject that I can be pretty passionate about.
Yeah.
But, no, this is something that I'd seen a lot about recently anyway, so it's like it's just convenient that y'all just decided to talk about it.
Well, I kind of figured, like, I mean, if anybody here would understand anything about that, it'd be you.
Right.
Absolutely.
So I was just like, hey, I did this thing. What are Solop's thoughts on it? Solop's thoughts on it.
Yeah.
You know, one day I'll learn how to speak English. It won't be today, but one day.
Maybe today. Maybe tomorrow.
No promises on tomorrow either. But all right. So I'm gonna preface this by saying these are the notes from last week, so they might be a little dated for things that have happened, but also at the same time, we're playing catch up, and nothing new is really happening in the world today inside of the topics we cover. There we go. Trying to keep it. Anywho, so we got. Okay, so it has been leaked that Disney has plans for Star Wars episodes 10 through 12, but it was leaked through an official source. And this is not the first time this has happened. This has been happening with every single movie that Disney has canceled for Star Wars in the last 4 years. So, honestly, like, I've hit a point. I was like, do I even bother to keep talking about Star Wars? Because I am a Star Wars fanboy, and I have been bored with Star Wars. All right, moving on.
Cliffhanger.
And
Just know
see.
the boredom is.
So, can you are you going to go into detail? What were the 2 movies that got canceled, or the 3 movies? Did they cancel 3 movies? 2 movies? 3 movies?
Allegedly, they have canceled. Actually, it's been like 5 movies so far.
It's been a lot.
Yeah. And with the entire writing cast walking out of the Rey movie.
What you gonna write about?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, honestly, like, if the alleged script that got leaked is the script for the movie, nobody's gonna watch that movie.
What was it about? So, like, I can only say, like, I can't say. What can I only say? It doesn't matter. I mean, at that point in the franchise, in the chronological order of things, like, what is there to go on? The Empire has, like, finally, like, fully been defeated. Palpatine is now dead, unless he somehow survived.
The only thing I can think of is if they plagiarize the books, which they don't believe exist according to episodes 7, 8, and 9. But what do I know? I am not a Star Wars fan at all.
Oh, not at all.
So there have been Switch 2 is confirmed, and it has been potentially postponed to 2026.
2020. Do we have any? Are there any deets?
No deets as of yet, but I'm assuming that it'll be very Nintendo.
I mean,
That much is assured.
Yeah. So while we're gonna stay on the topic of Nintendo for a minute, because there's a couple of things here we're gonna go over. So Switch 2 is definitely going to be a thing. Whether it's called the Switch 2 or not is completely up in the air. I don't think Nintendo has ever named things numerically.
I was going to say the same thing. I mean, the closest they came was like with the Wii and the Wii U.
Yeah.
yeah, that was
Oh, they do have one numerical system though. They actually do. The Nintendo 64.
Oh yeah.
I missed the first 63, but I didn't hear too much about them, so they probably weren't that good.
Oh.
Oh, wait a minute. That is the question. Why in the world did they name it?
There's a reason why they named it the 64.
It's because it was their
64-bit?
it was their first 64-bit system.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
And I remember Mario days on that bad boy.
Yeah.
Named
Now
after its 64-bit CPU.
Yeah. All right. So, in general, I mostly dislike how Nintendo does business when it comes to dealing with their fans and competitors and things like that. Like,
Are we just
suing.
gonna skip over the Switch 2 that quickly?
We can tie it in. We're gonna tie it in.
Okay.
All right. That being said, Nintendo does a lot of things right. All right. Now, Nintendo is very, very good at catering to its fans. They are also very good at licensing games that their fans want, which is something you really cannot say about other consoles and their developers. So like every time there's a new system, you are guaranteed you're going to get another Zelda game. You're going to get another or Legend of Zelda game. You're going to get more Mario. And they are very good at making games that don't need to tie together. Like the story of, was it Luigi's Mansion doesn't need to tie into Super Mario 3.
They could just make a fun little romp.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say most Zelda games aren't really hitting off each other either, except for what was it, the last two? Because they had Breath of the Wild and then Fallen Kingdom, right?
Something like that.
Tears of the Kingdom.
Here's the game.
Yes.
I think it's it.
Yep.
Because it came out during the same time during, was it Fallen Order? No, not Fallen Order. Forgotten Order. Forgotten Order?
Fallen Order.
Was it Fallen Order?
Fallen Order, but I don't think they came around at the same time. Did they come around at the same time?
Either way, I get them confused because I'm dyslexic.
I used to joke around because I was like, Tears of the Fallen Kingdom is a much more badass name than Tears of the Kingdom.
But it's
Tears
Legend of
Fallen
Zelda.
Kingdom.
There's no badass there.
I think that's pretty dope. Tears of the Fallen Kingdom. It's dope. You should do that. That's why I got confused.
I mean,
Tears of the Kingdom. Those two are like 1 and 2. Direct sequel. Is it within the same storyline, or is it kind of just like?
so that's the great thing about the Legend of Zelda series is you can just kind of jump in anywhere.
Okay.
All you have to have is a general understanding of what's happening, and that's not even the case most of the time. It's basically Zelda and Link are constantly reincarnated with each other. It's Zelda, Link, and Ganondorf have been constantly reincarnated with each other all throughout time and space, and it's basically save the princess from Ganondorf. That's my understanding, and I'm probably going to catch some flack for that, but I'm, like I said, I'm not the biggest Nintendo fan. I don't enjoy playing games on the Switch, but I do enjoy a lot of things that happen there. Like, you're going to get another Pokemon game. A Pokemon game could be bad and still outsell a crap ton of the AAA titles coming out today.
Yeah, people just buy it because it's got the Pokemon name on it.
Yeah.
Pokemon.
Like, the last one I played was... I don't remember the last one I played. Sword? Was it Sword? I think it was Sword. Because they had Pokemon Sword and Shield. And I did not enjoy any of the story, but I still played it all the way through, maxed out everything, because that game has something for everybody. I don't know anybody who can not do that with a Pokemon game. I did try their open world MMO, not MMO, but their open world game, and it had a lot of promise to it. It was missing some stuff, Legend of Arceus. Like, it was missing some aspects that it really could have used, but at the same time, it was an open world Pokemon game, and you can't expect too much. And I think it's another thing is that really does well for the Nintendo platform is they don't have to push any envelopes. Their advertising is so good that they could be like, hey, this is the same exact game that we released 10 years ago with some slight tweaks to it. And people will buy it up by the buckets.
They create products that sell themselves.
Yeah. All they have to say is, we're releasing a Pokemon game. We're releasing a new Mario game. We're releasing a new Legend of Zelda game.
Yeah, I was going to say you have to be careful with how you say create products. Because they already created the products, they just released different variants of it. I mean, Mario's been established, Pokemon's been established, Zelda's been established. So they're not coming up with new content, they're just coming up with new variations of their content.
Yeah. Well, that, and then they will randomly let a developer just remaster or remake something for their system. Like, they started letting Capcom launch all the Resident Evils on Switch. They let Mortal Kombat come to the Switch. Like, these are not their usual titles, but also another thing that Nintendo does well is they make their product accessible. Which, like, they'll launch a new system and it'll be scalped for the first 2 weeks, but then you can find it everywhere.
I was about to say, define accessible, because it's only on their...
Okay, and I'm not just talking about availability. The utility of Nintendo products is also much higher than most other competitors. And can you really even say that they're competitors? Because Nintendo is not going to fail, and Nintendo's not going to be pushed aside. So they have their own niche market that just so happens to coincide with the other two titans of industry.
Right.
Like, they don't need to beat them. They just exist and they are successful.
There was a time where, like, I think with the N64 and the GameCube, they were competing with those other two manufacturers. And then after that, they kind of were just like, yeah, let's just go our own route. We'll go this way. They can go that way, and we'll just go over here and be more oriented toward this kind of play style and this mentality.
And it's 100% worked for them.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not.
I don't think I've ever really seen Nintendo ever go have like a really like downtime.
No. Like, the only time that they start dipping is at the end of their console life, and they can see it coming and they're ready to drop the next one every time. And think about their genius idea of making their console also their handheld, so they don't have to split up their own market.
Yeah, because I mean,
That was genius.
Genius.
Yeah, that and I do remember. See,
Yeah, because they had that. 'Cause they had the GameCube, or not the GameCube, the Game Boy for such a long time. You know, and that's kind of like where the Pokemon market thrived. Just playing on a handheld like that. You didn't need a huge console. You didn't need a TV or something that's portable. Easy to play wherever you were.
what was
As long as you had AA batteries, you were good, man.
what was because I think the first somewhat portable one I remember was the Dreamcast.
Because it had the handle. It was designed to be picked up and taken with you. But you still needed a TV for it.
The Dreamcast had a handle on it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, not
definitely did.
GameCube. GameCube did. Sorry, not Dreamcast.
Okay. Yeah, because the Dreamcast was also Sega. Which was
Yeah.
but I'm kind of. Did they start out right about the same time?
Dreamcast was probably what, 7 years before the GameCube? Ooh. How old am I?
Don't you be putting that age out there.
The Dreamcast came out in like 2000.
I remember it had that. Was it like a?
I think it was-
remember
it was
like
after
everything just
PlayStation,
sliding
though.
on the top.
99. September 1999. Dreamcast release.
So I remember it was after the PlayStation 1, but before the GameCube. When did GameCube come out? It was what, 05?
I'm going to say 04. Let's find out. There's no way. 2001.
Oh,
2001 in Japan, 2002, 2001, September 2001 in Japan, November in North America, and then early 2002 in...
let it be known that we will correct ourselves live.
Yeah, so I felt like the Dreamcast was well ahead of well before the GameCube. That's wild. Damn.
I honestly, I could have said, I could have said the same thing. It's a Mandela effect. There's a hole in the universe. We're bleeding into another reality.
Dude, we probably are. We still are. I think we are.
We're blending.
Shazam exists.
It does. I don't care what anybody else says. It does. He says, "Oh, I never played in a movie because."
Yeah, the Dreamcast was wild. I never had a Dreamcast, but I knew a lot of people that had Dreamcast, so I was always at their house playing it.
And didn't it have the little thing on top of the controller? Where you was that only meant for memory card? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I thought you could take it with you.
I guess I don't know. Like the controller, that's like a blank slide. So it's like a little insert that you had to put in, and it had a digital screen on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the Dreamcast, they had a memory card just like a PlayStation, and you could put it in the controller, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Dreamcast
remember
did
correctly.
that.
I never personally owned one.
Nintendo 64 did that. They had their memory cards went into the controller.
64 also had an attachment that you could play Game Boy games.
Packs. Yeah.
What was it, Pokemon Yellow? You could play on your 64?
Sure.
Don't quote me.
Didn't Pokemon Yellow come out for 64? They had the yellow cartridge for it.
I think so.
It was like one of the few that was a different color. They had a yellow cartridge.
I had a PlayStation and a Sega Genesis. So, oh man, I miss Sega.
The Genesis.
I do miss Sega. Sega could have been a real contender if they stuck with it, but then they're like, screw the consoles. We're just going to make games.
The Genesis. Well, Sega made the Dreamcast.
They did. That was their last console.
Yeah. And then didn't Sega get bought by Nintendo?
No.
It faded into the abyss.
Sega did get bought, but not by Nintendo.
Who bought Sega?
I think it was Atari. I want to say Atari bought.
Fuck is Sammy? Sammy Corporation in 2001. What the fuck? Who the fuck is Sammy? Who the fuck is Sammy?
It's Big Brother.
It's probably a company in the Middle East.
And you're gonna name it Sammy?
I didn't make the rules.
Is a Japanese conglomerate.
Is it? Okay. I stand corrected. I guess that was before they started trying to buy up everything.
Oh wait, never mind. No, it's not. Sammy Corporation acquired control interest of Sega in 2004, and they formed Sega Sammy Holdings. And Sega Sammy Holdings is a Japanese conglomerate.
Okay.
Fuck that bitch.
I'm gonna stop talking about it because apparently I don't know much. But yeah, no, I mean, just like, but like the point I'm trying to make here is, and I had this more thought out last week when I wrote the notes down for the show that we didn't do. But what I want to say is like, Nintendo understands their fan bases and continues to build upon their established IPs in what their fan bases expect. Most of the time. That is the rule, not the exception to the rule. Obviously, they've had some downers now and then, but most of the time, they are very successful.
A lot of their franchises, like the Mario franchise, is extremely successful.
Yeah.
The Zelda, Legend of Zelda franchise is extremely successful. Pokemon is still extremely successful too, except for the last game that they dropped. Was that Sapphire? No.
No, Sapphire was a long time ago.
Emerald?
Yeah, I want to say like Ruby and Sapphire were like Game Boy Color.
I don't know.
Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance era.
I have no clue. What was the last Pokemon game that they dropped? I thought you were into this. What happened?
I played them when they're available to me.
The most it goes is Pokemon Go.
But no, like my point that I'm trying to make is that they actually cater to their fan base.
Yeah,
they actually cater to their fan bases, and they don't stray too far from that. Versus what the other industries are doing, like Sony and Xbox and all of their development studios are continuously attempting to cater to an audience that doesn't exist. And they're just hemorrhaging money left and freaking right.
Yes, they are.
Do you think it's because, like, you know, Nintendo provides consoles that are not just powerhouses? So, you know, they have very simplistic consoles. You know, they're not, you know, very powerful. They're not robust. They're not huge. They're not extremely powerful. Trying to go for teraflops. So that you can have an expansive game when it optimizes, is going to get a shit ton of FPS and also have this massive, gigantic, you know, world in it, right? So that kind of like limits the developers to kind of keep things, you know, short and simple, you know, decently simple.
I'm not sure that argument has a lot to stand on, because they do have a lot of high in-depth games.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Yeah, now that I think about, you know, the last Zelda games, they were huge.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, like,
but they weren't
graphically overpowering.
No. They didn't need to be.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing that, like, most Nintendo companies or companies that make games for Nintendo, I think, are really successful on, is the fact that they can crank out more games because they require less to put into them. And
so I'm just thinking, like, you know, what are the companies are just like, all right, what's going to be the next game that really takes advantage of our console that's just going to blow everybody out of the water?
Yeah.
And
you only really get that with, like, the Sony exclusive games. Like, the games that take off that are everywhere are games that give the player massive freedom of choice. Like Baldur's Gate 3. Baldur's Gate 3, it has a lot of the same, like, identity politics stuff in it that's in a lot of other stuff, but it doesn't force it down your throat. It's just naturally there. But outside of that, the player controls everything. Like, you can't go 5 minutes without making a decision that's going to affect the game. And it's crazy how much detail went into that game. Larian Studios is there's not another one like them. Yeah, as we talked about last time with what game was that? Oh, the one we're going to talk about soon. All right. But update though. So Nintendo is currently suing the developer of palworld, which was, we talked about it weeks ago. Where is it? Where is it?
You're talking about the number?
No, the name of the company.
Oh. I don't know.
What's the name of that company? It was in the notes before. Yes, I had to look up, I guess, because like I have this monitor over here is vertical, which has all of our, this is where my Discord is, where I keep my notes. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, it's not turning out to be as intrusive or as detrimental as everyone originally thought. Like, don't get me wrong, it still sucks. Like, this is like the one thing I really dislike about the Nintendo company is, you know, they'll sue everybody at the drop of a hat over these stupidest things.
They just have money to throw away.
Yeah, but so everybody was expecting like this lawsuit to come at the developers of palworld and be millions and millions of dollars, and it ended up being so far like $65,000, which is a lot of money, but at the same time,
not nearly what you'd expect.
yeah, not. It's like we're making a point. We will get something out of this one way or the other. But yeah. Anyway, let's talk some garbage on games journalists, because they are currently praising Dragon Age's success for having 85,000 active players on Steam, when games like Black Myth Wukong had millions of active players.
I was going to say, that doesn't really sound like the highest numbers for any game.
That's some games that have been done out of the basement sometimes, starting up. Man.
But yes, I mean, yeah, they're calling it a massive success and a huge success, and it's like they are trying to sell the game after it's already failed.
Right.
Because it hasn't even reached a million individual sales yet, which is,
well, it's just Steam. It's still sold on console, yeah?
no, I think like those, yeah, but I mean, still 85,000 is not a million. It's a long way from a million.
I was gonna say it's a long way away.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was 500,000, I don't think I'd be impressed. Not after palworld had millions of active players, and Baldur's Gate 3 had millions of active players, and Black Myth Wukong set records at what, like almost 360 million, something like that. We talked about that a couple shows ago. Where was that?
360 million? I don't think
it was like 3.6 million.
Okay.
Where was it?
We
talked about it before.
It was just you just need, you know how it is. Sometimes you just need to throw a decimal in there. Just bloop. Pops out 100.
I found it in the notes, and I didn't put the number in the notes.
It's 2.4.
Was it 2.4 million?
Yeah, Black Myth Wukong all-time peak is 2.4.
And that's just Steam. So when you're coming at me with numbers of 85,000 and asking me to be impressed, I am not.
Well, it's at 89,000 right now. So.
Ooh.
I was gonna do the same.
And that's, but like obviously us as players and critics of media, we have been very well aware of the disconnect between journalists and fans, or journalists and players.
Oh, yeah.
But like,
it's always been like that.
it is extremely exacerbated with Dragon Age, almost an Inquisition. I've already forgot the name of this game.
Veilguard? Veilguard?
Veilguard. I think it's Veilguard. Like, that's the disconnect. And I love Dragon Age. Dragon Age Origins is one of my favorite games. I would rather download and play Dragon Age Origins with mods that improve its graphical integrity than that. And Dragon Age Origins came out in what, like 2010?
A while back.
Let me look it up before I speak out my ass again. 2009. Okay, so I was right there. I was within 1 year.
Oh, that's a win for the boys.
I'll take 1 year as being right. But yeah, I would rather play a nearly 15-year-old game. No, now 15, I can math, I can promise. Nearly 16-year-old game than play the thing that they are trying to sell me. If that tells you anything about my current stance. But speaking of Black Myth Wukong, Black Myth Wukong, due to its success, is actually releasing physical copies. It was a digital only game. They are actually going to come out with physical copies for it.
I mean, what's the point?
A lot of collectors.
A lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people that would want to collect it.
Okay, you're talking about collectors. That's fine. I thought you were talking about, like, trying to reach the people that don't have internet connection. But I'm like, they're going to get the disc and have to download the game anyway.
I know a couple of people who will not play a game if they cannot put a disc in. Even though
I know one person like that, yeah.
And and it's not so much because the disc these days is basically just a CD key to download the game. But the case means something to a lot of collectors and a lot of players and a lot of people.
Like, I understand that.
Like, me personally, like, the case isn't as much as it used to be. And at the same time, like, because of the limited space in a hard drive, I am constantly deleting games to install new games. You don't have to worry about that. Like, disc players could be like, oh yeah, I have that game, instead of trying to, like, go through their whole digital library and find something different to play for a while. They can just look at a shelf. And that means something to people. Like, I think them going physical, it's going to be hard to find that, I think, when it goes physical, because of the success of it.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people will buy it and play it. But I want to get into the conversation now. Like, what are your buddies going to do, like, in the future? Because I doubt the PS6 is going to have a disc drive. I doubt the Xbox.
I think we're going to have one more generation of discs.
If we do, it'd be the last one, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if the PS6 does it, it is definitely the last time.
Because Microsoft and Xbox is already talking about being console-less.
Right. Well, yeah, that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Consoles are the next thing to go.
Yeah, Microsoft and Xbox are already talking about just doing away with consoles altogether and just doing streaming. But we've talked about that before, where if you don't have halfway decent internet, it's going to be a bad experience.
I have badass internet, and it's already a bad experience. Please don't do that. Please don't. Do your buddies not play PC either?
Honestly, there's going to be a day when personal computers and all that are just going to be a thing of the past. It's going to happen.
Where are we going to play on? Are we just going to have like, contact lenses, and we can just play like,
maybe we might just have like, we'll do the whole Elon Musk brain chip thing and just plug into a wall.
Ooh.
I'm not against it. I'm not against it, but I need to see some tests done first.
Beat me up, Scotty. Beat me up, Scotty.
Okay, this last one that I think is freaking hilarious. So scalpers are losing money on the PS5 Pro.
Oh, nice.
Good, as they should. I don't even know why.
They are.
You can go buy a PS5 Pro literally right now.
Yep. They are, like, if you go on eBay, scalpers are currently having to sell at cost or below cost to actually move the product that they scalp.
Don't even go on eBay. Go
They
Best Buy.
could be dickheads anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, man. I remember they were buying up all the the disk drives too. Since we're talking about being diskless and whatever too, they bought up all the disk drives
Because they know.
They bought up all the disk drives, knowing and it still wasn't hard to get a disk drive. So you just bought all this shit. I mean, it's about time that they started getting bit in the ass.
I mean, especially after all the consoles, and especially during COVID, all of the PC parts and everything else. I'm game for a little payback. I'm game.
High five. Good to go.
Would be an excellent marketing strategy would be to give a release date, let the scalpers take what they're going to take, and then actually launch the product the next day with more inventory than what you said you had.
Ooh.
Right.
Huh. I don't know. Would that be because then the scalpers would just come through and buy up everything the next day anyway, too?
Well, I mean, obviously you'd have the people who'd, try to buy off scalpers the first day. But if you, set it up to where like the stores have the inventory the next day and all these stores are taking the precautions that they say they're taking, it would be more accessible and more available to all the consumers. But then the companies would still get that huge spike in sales that they get from scalpers. I mean, obviously they'd catch on to it like after, first time, shame on you. Second time, shame on me. But
I think that's a dream. I don't think that could actually happen. That's just me.
But then again, if we end up going consoleless in the next generation or two, there's going to be nothing to scalp.
Right.
Well, you're gonna scalp something. You're gonna start scalping TVs. I remember they were scalping TVs for a while back too. They were scalping TVs. They were scalping. Dude, they were scalping fucking air fryers. People were scalping. If it's an electronic, if there's a product that you can fucking buy online that has a limited product or a limited amount of, they're gonna scalp that shit, man. Dude, I remember I was fucking buying TVs. I was buying TVs and they fucking did that shit. Fucking Walmart had like the most gangsta ass fucking Black Friday sale I've ever seen. They were selling 4K 65-inch TVs for $150. I was like, I bought two myself, but the first round I could not get a TV. The first round they did it, I couldn't get a fucking TV. I was fucking pissed. And then I go to eBay and people were selling these fucking TVs for thousands of dollars.
Oh yeah.
And it's like normally priced like at $300, so it's like 50% off. A $300 TV for like $1,000. And I was like, get the fuck out of here. And then I waited like 20 minutes, and then I got back in, and I got my two TVs, and that was it. And I was just like, man, people will scalp anything. People were fucking pathetic and petty.
If there's a demand for it, then they're gonna see it as an opportunity.
Well, I have a demand for something that nobody's going to take as an opportunity. So
Wait a minute.
Hey man, people will pay for dick. $40.
They'll pay for it. They'll pay for it. They just want to know who's throwing it. Like
Oh man!
Welcome to Griff After Dark.
We can get in this earlier. It's the winter time now, man. It gets dark. It gets dark super fast. 5 o'clock. Going right into it.
Yeah, my man said Griff After Dark.
I need the Pornhub theme, and I can just hit a button. Dum, dum, dum.
Oh man, if I had my soundboard on right now, I'd have been like, "Hey, give me a minute."
Oh, but
that'd be funny.
Yeah. I was going to take you to places, but I'm not going to.
Yeah. So I have a PS5 Pro.
I'm sorry.
I don't care.
It's your money. You do.
I mean, that's the reason. But I mean, I could afford it. I wanted one, so I bought it. And people are like, I see people complaining all the time, like, "Oh, it's a scam. It's not even that much of an upgrade. You know, you shouldn't buy it." I'm like, yo, man, if you want it, fucking buy it. If you don't want it, don't buy it. And it's not. They didn't advertise it like, hey, if you buy the PS5 Pro, you get nothing. They didn't do that. I mean, like, you can still go buy a very base PS5. They're not like, oh, we're shutting all the PS5s off, so either you upgraded the Pro or you're never going to play again.
Yeah, they're not Windows.
Yeah, man, if you didn't want the Pro, then don't fucking buy the Pro. If you don't have the money for the Pro, don't buy it. If you don't think it's worth upgrading, you don't think it's that much, then don't fucking buy it. It wasn't a demand. They weren't fucking...
The PS5 Pro,
right, console.
When they launched the PS5 Pro, it was definitely for the people who had the liquidity to get it.
Yeah.
It wasn't for people like me who are like, do I really need that? I haven't turned my PlayStation on in like 4 months. I don't need a Pro.
Yeah. I have a disc. I still have the white Xbox and disc and all, and I got it because somebody was like, "Hey, I'm just trying. I need some extra money. I'll let it go for 100, 150." I was like, "Bet."
That's not bad.
Like, all right.
That's not bad. The S is the S, while it is a crappy system, $150. Hell yeah.
Absolutely. I'm almost like, it'll sit here just in case if I ever want to, go through and pop on my little backbone and connect to it. It don't work too good, but I mean, I guess, I legitimately like remote desktop into my PC now for my cell phone and just
I'm gonna ask you after this what you use, because I'm gonna need something like that. I'll explain here in a minute. Anyway, thank you all for coming and watching. I hope you had a good time.
He's trying to get his stash on his phone.
No, actually, I'm not. I have internet for that. I have cell service.
He's just like, don't look at my history. Don't look at my history.
What are you talking about? I have a different browser. Anyway, thank you all for coming and watching. We hope you enjoyed yourselves, and we will see you some point in the future.